Alright, here's a quick little teaser video. We're messing around with a 2009 Honda CR-V. 2009 2.4 liter Honda CR-V. This one's got 90K on it. And stock alternator finally went out. So a lot of these guys are going around saying that you have to remove the radiator to get to it. Now granted, this one is a little bit tight. You have to remove the power steering pump, which sits up here, and then obviously the alternator's underneath. You got this little reservoir that normally clips in right here in the way. So I disconnected the one line going into the power steering pump right here. I capped it off and make sure we don't lose no fluid. And this one I just twisted up. You can see we still got the fluid inside the reservoir. Just sat it in right there just like that, out of my way. Loosen the bolt that holds the power steering line right here, which is this guy, like that. And that loosened that, and also went ahead and loosened the AC line, which attaches right there also. So push the AC line out of the way. Power steering pump out of the way. The power steering pump has two bolts. One of them's down here on the bottom. 12 mil small ratchet wrench is what I used. And Honda loves the 12 mil. And you could also grab yourself a swivel head 12 mil or a short 12 mil. A ratchet, even with a short socket, won't be enough clearance to get to the top bolt on the other side here. You're looking at the back side of it here. The bolt was coming out the front end, and then here's the other one. Those are only two bolts on the pump, and the pump is out of your way. Both of those bolts, one comes here, and the clearance in between the back of this nut and that bolt with the ratchet is not enough. So you need the gear wrench instead of a ratchet wrench. And then the other one goes here. And then I always date and mileage on them. Now most people were saying that this radiator had to come out to get to it, because the fan, the frame for the fan is kind of in the way to get to the bolts. So what I did, instead of taking the radiator out, was it has a bracket that comes here, and these two bolts hold it, and it holds right there. This is the bracket to give you an idea. It holds the headlight with one bolt there, two bolts there, and then obviously comes inside and holds the radiator. So I removed that bracket, and on the other side we have the same thing. You have the pin coming up here, and then you have your two bolts, one here and one here, and you have the same style bracket. Just to give you guys an idea. Bolt here, the headlight, two bolts there. This comes out of the way. So now that we got those out of the way, as you can see, I popped the plastic cover that comes on the top right here. It attaches from here to here, and that gave me a little bit of wiggle room, just enough what I needed. And you can see my pry bar where I wedged it in, right in between there, going straight down to the bottom. Careful with the AC line. And what that does is, as you can see, it rocked the radiator back enough to get the 2 bottom bolts on the alternator out. The top bolt is a piece of cake. It goes right there. And this little hose was right there. I got it out of the way just because it wasn't hard to disconnect. The belt, if I really need to explain to you guys how to remove the belt, maybe you shouldn't be doing this job to begin with. But this is the belt tensioner, 14mm nut, and it will only give you tension one way. This one happens to pull that way, if I remember correctly. I don't take the belt all the way off right away. I am going to replace the belt on this one, but I'll make sure I have the new alternator on before I finish taking it off. That way I don't have to remember which way the belt is routed. As far as alternator choices, get yours wherever you want to. I like Napa quality, and Napa had the cheapest for $112 with a $38 core. Normally I pull the core first. Today I didn't have a chance to, so it is what it is. Right here you can see this is the top bolt, and then the 2 bottom bolts that the radiator had to bend out of the way for, and they're all 12mm. And you got your electrical connector, your positive connector, and that's about it. Pretty straightforward. I've heard shops charging anywhere from $150 just labor to $600 labor, depending where you go to do this job. But I seen some guy put a video on YouTube. He went to crazy, ridiculous extents of removing the core support, pulling out the whole entire radiator, draining his radiator fluid, draining power steering fluid, losing transmission fluid from the cooler lines on the bottom of the radiator. He pretty much had the whole front end tore off just to get to the alternator. And I wanted to post a video so people could see that it is ridiculous and unnecessary. You do not have to move the radiator. You don't have to lose your coolant transmission fluid from the cooler lines going into the radiator, or even lose power steering fluid. If you cap it off, leave the hole twisted up, just bend it out of the way, the alternator will easily come out as long as your radiator is just loosened up top and pried back. Anyways, there it is. Living proof. Honda CR-V 2009. Alternator job is not that big of a deal. I would say this is more for a level B technician, not a level C technician. This is not a beginner job. This is not something you want to tackle if you're a beginner. I can see how it would look intimidating. I'm doing this one actually for somebody in the family, and they thought they could do it themselves and got into it and decided that it was too much for them and brought it to me. But it doesn't require A-level tech, and it's not as hard as people think it is. No need to remove the radiator. 2009 Honda CR-V. Hope this was useful to somebody out there. I really don't care if you subscribe or even click like. Have a nice day.